Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's Monday, March 2nd. It's great having you back with us. The sale of the Klein Resort in Grand Bahama finalized this morning. Prime Minister Dr. Minnis and Royal Caribbean Cruise Line and the ITM Group signed the heads of agreement for the purchase of the resort. The Prime Minister says the $250 million investment is promised to go a long way in the revitalizing of Grand Bahama. Our Sharika Johnson has that story.
The government has signed a purchase and sales agreement and the heads of agreement for the Klein Resort in Grand Bahama today. The investment project is expected to save jobs, bring cruise ships to the island, and create business opportunities for Bahamians. Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Mr. Kwasi Thompson, stated that the closure of the resort on Grand Bahama was one of the first issues confronting the government after being sworn into office. But Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, who brought remarks, says the development will provide a better guest experience and increase traffic growth to the island.
The benefits to Grand Bahama include capital investment, employment opportunities for Bahamian workers in the tourism and construction industries, increased commerce for local businesses in the Port Lucayan marketplace and beyond, taxi drivers and tour operations, and increased revenue to enable the government to support infrastructural programs. So, ladies and gentlemen, with Grand Bahama's proximity to the large Florida market in particular, this investment will promote sustainable economic growth and development on Grand Bahama. And this investment will also expand the experience for cruise passengers to Grand Bahama.
Minister Minnis added that a revitalization of the Grand Bahamian Airport is also in discussions.
We are discussing the best way possible to redevelop the Grand Bahama International Airport, making it a world-class airport. This will require a significant... I first came to Grand Bahama many years ago. Like many of you, I have seen its ups and I've seen its downs, its struggles and its needs. I also saw the hope and tenacity of the many good and talented people who live here.
Major highlights of the development, according to Dr. Minnis, include pools, lagoons, and inland waterways that will support water park activities, beach restoration, and artificial reef construction, and food and beverage pavilions, nightclubs, duty-free shopping plaza, and other facilities. For JCNTV, I'm Sharika Johnson.
The outbreak of the COVID-19 or coronavirus is a matter of grave concern for the country. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis acknowledging as much. Addressing the virus for the first time, Dr. Minnis yesterday during a press conference said that the government will take no chances with the deadly virus and has instructed the government and health officials to do everything in its power to combat, communicate, and if needed, contain the health risk.
I want to be clear that when it comes to public health threats, the government will not take any chances. We take this outbreak very seriously. We will utilize the resources necessary to ensure the safety of all Bahamians and residents. Public health is an absolute priority.
The coronavirus has killed more than 3,000 people worldwide and infected more than 89,000. Ministry of Health officials, soon after the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a health emergency of international concern, developed a national preparedness and response plan to ensure optimal readiness and response to COVID-19. Dr. Minnis said as a result, health officials have been providing regular public updates and urged the public to rely on credible sources of information to be properly informed about the virus.
The ministry has also established a task force made up of key personnel from various government agencies, including Customs and Immigration, the Port Department, Tourism, Foreign Affairs, the Police, and Defense Force. And we will shortly announce the establishment of a national coordinating committee that will also include relevant members of civil society in addition to government representatives.
The Prime Minister added that having had an emergency meeting with CARICOM heads, discussions were productive on the development of a regional coordination for the management of COVID-19, which include strengthening existing protocols for seaports and aligning best practices in the region.
Caribbean leaders are also seeking to find a balance to its overall response to COVID-19. Leaders also considered whether a regional rapid response team should be re-established to provide assistance across the region to countries that are in need. Coordination and information sharing with regional partners are essential.
Dr. Minnis added that the government has been working with the Pan American Health Organization since the virus was identified and says the government will remain vigilant and proactive. Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Pearl McMillan, the official spokesperson for the ministry on the coronavirus, said the ministry has been working in tandem with the Pan American Health Organization and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and has established a testing capacity in country that will allow the ministry to get a presumptive positive or negative in roughly 12 hours of persons tested. However, Dr. McMillan says there would need to be additional testing and a concrete positive or negative will be official in 2 days.
And we would have actually received a substantive amount of testing kits. It's not as if we are going to go out and do mass testing, but we definitely have enough in country to do the required testing to determine whether or not somebody who presents with the symptoms, some respiratory symptoms, and the necessary epidemiological link, the history of travel, for us to do, we can test. I think we have about 50 in country, and we have additional on order.
Health officials say there remains no confirmed, suspected, or recorded cases in the country. Well, with the virus outbreak numbers increasing by the hour and with more than 89,000 being affected worldwide since last December, today the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is issuing a statement for Bahamians traveling to high-risk jurisdictions such as mainland China, Tehran, and Italy are still advising the public that non-essential travel to these areas is strongly discouraged. Persons who must travel should expect to be routinely screened and tested and, if necessary, quarantined for up to 14 days in those jurisdictions and subject to additional screening on return to the Bahamas. Officials say when traveling in general, Bahamians are advised to take special precautions to minimize exposure to the virus and practice basic personal hygiene, including the washing of hands to reduce the chance of contracting it. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.